Okay guys, right, I've had a few requests to create a news feature. By news feature I presume you mean a page that will display news and where you can also post news. So what I've done here is I've created two pages. I've got news, which is going to display our news, and I've got post, which is going to allow us to post news. And I'm also going to be using databases. I'll be using a MySQL database with PHP as the interface. So if you're not set up with that already, you can go download that. Just Google for it. Okay, so I'm doing this completely off the top of my head, so maybe it'll be a bit cranky, but we'll see how we go. So we've got our two files, like I've said. This displays news, this posts news, and then here I've got my PHP set up to my database, and I'm going to be using my database PHP So the first thing we're going to be doing is we're going to be adding a new table on my database, and believe it or not, this is just going to be called news. Now the fields we need are fairly simple. Let's just go into context, we can plan this out. We're going to need an ID to identify each post that's been made. Then we're going to have a title, and we're going to have the body text, and then we're also going to carry the date on this as well. So that's pretty much all we need. So there's 4 fields that we need there. So let's just go back into here, we'll type 4 in there, click go, and then we can start planning them out. So the first is going to be an int, that's an ID. We're also going to make that auto increment up here, and that's going to have a primary key index. If you don't know what that means, the primary key index sets it as sort of a primary field. It helps if you have any sort of come into more complex databases. Also, I believe you need it to be a primary key before you set an auto increment. Okay, so the next one I said is the title. That's obviously going to be a varchar. You can make it a text type field here, but for the varchar you can save a bit of space, and let's say the maximum is, we'll say 100 characters. And then I'm going to have the body just here, and that's going to be a text, and we don't need to set a character limit for that. Okay, the date is obviously just going to be a date, a standard date format. And that's about it. Yep, that's our 4 fields done. So we can come wherever it is, and we can click save here. Okay, so we've made that, and there's our SQL code there, and we have created our table here. Okay, so this is these are our 2 pages here. With the news, I'm going to start planning out the design. So that's pretty much just going to be HTML, and I'm going to have just a header. I mean, obviously you guys can go and make the design as you wish. I'm just going to have news there, and I'm going to have a horizontal line, and then here my news is going to be displayed. So obviously I'm going to create some PHP tags in there, and maybe another HR down there. So inside our PHP here, this is our content that we're going to show to the user. So news will go here. So that pretty much makes sense. We've got a HTML design, and then we've got PHP embedded inside our design. Remember, as long as you've got a .php extension, or if your web server accepts .html with PHP inside it, then we're all good to go right here. So we can come into news.php. Oh no, I think I did that in post. Yeah, okay. Let's copy this code over to news.php. So make sure you get the right file. Okay, so let's go to news.php, and there's our news page, and our news will go in there. And our post page is pretty much going to be just a standard HTML design. Here we'll just create something simple, so h1, and post news. I mean, you can make this admin accessible only. I do have an admin tutorial for admin only pages. For now I'm just going to show you guys how to sort of post the news. That's probably the most important thing, but I'll let you go and secure this page how you wish. So you've got post news, a horizontal line there, and we're going to have a horizontal line down there, and in here we're going to have a form. I'm going to make it very, very basic. So we're going to start and end our form. the action, we're going to post to the same page and we're going to validate it inside there, and the method is going to be post. And then inside we're going to have let's say title, breakdown, say input type is text, name, title, so that's pretty straightforward. Paragraph down, and we're going to say body, and then we're going to break, and I'm going to have a text area, so text area and text area, and we can say rows, let's go for 6, and for columns we'll go for like 30 or something like that, yeah, or 35. Okay, so paragraph down again, and we have an input type, and that's going to be submit, and the name is going to be post, and our value, which is what's going to be displayed, is post this news. Okay, so if we come into that, sorry if that was a bit of a rush, but there we are, post news. We've got title, body, and we've got post this news. So that's pretty much created straight away, really simply. Okay, so I'm just going to shove a, oh, realise what I did there, that's a horizontal line to end that page, just to neaten everything out a bit. So we've got our main news page here, and we've got our post news here. So really all we need to do now is we need to create some kind of interface with the database. In this page what we're going to be doing is getting the data from the database, and obviously in this page here we're going to be applying the data to the database, so we're going to be inserting data into the database. And this is surprisingly easy. If you follow it along, you should be able to get the hang of it quite quickly. The first thing we're going to do is the ability to display the news. The reason I always do this is because as long as you know that you're taking from your database and everything's displayed properly, when you come to creating your input into the database, i.e. our post.php page, then we can do that, and then we're just everything's done. And everything's sorted out. So the first thing we're going to do in the next part of this tutorial is create our news.php page where we're going to display the news to the user. So I'll see you guys in a bit. Bye bye.